All right, y'all. I am very excited. I was introduced to someone else's psychological work, and that is going to actually bring this moral cognitive series full circle like I had planned, anyways. It seems like I have side railed off of talking about identity capture, but I had to go through all of the archetypes. That's what I've been doing for the last month. So I've been building Polarity. I wrote and recorded a Polarity overall masculine and feminine for all the archetypes. I did a Polarity series, and that talked about how energy moves overall through the archetype. And then we talked about moral load, who holds consequence. So I've got multiple axes going on here. Let me bring this up while I talk, actually. Okay, so I have to scoot over. All right, so I just had a brilliant idea of how to bring this series back around. So so first of all, there are 3 axes that I have been running the 12 archetypes, personality types through. So let me bring up Aquarius as an example because it helps when you have visuals to look at. All right, so this series, I have been running the 12 archetypes through the masculine and feminine overall polarity, which represents how energy moves. And then I ran them through the moral load bearing axis. So there's a ranking system. Hopefully you can see that. I am finishing out my moral load bearing and inner and outer masculine and feminine series. So I combined the moral load with the inner and outer. Siri just kicked on. Okay. Anyways, sorry about that. Anyway, I'm trying to I just had a new idea, so I'm trying to formulate how I know how I'm going to do it, but it's just kind of new. So anyways, the 12 archetypes on this series, I started off with talking about how politics is the new religion and how culturally we have been identity captured. So that video went viral. And so I was like, okay, so this is a huge topic that needs to be talked about. How do you do that? Where do you begin? Understanding yourself, understanding each of the 12 personality types, especially through moral load bearing, overall masculine and feminine, and then breaking down the nervous system through the inner and outer masculine and feminine. So if you understand all of that, you're understanding how energy moves, who holds consequence, where identity forms, and then how identity gets captured. So, understanding personality types, you're understanding the thinking and the emotional world as well. This is just insanely fascinating. So, this is just kind of like an introduction to the next series. I'm going to film my Aquarius. I'm almost done with Aquarius. I am going to film one more Aquarius video and then probably 3 or 4 hours worth of Gemini through the moral load and inner and outer masculine and feminine distortion development across their life cycle. So I need to finish probably 5 hours of work, and then I'm going to start getting into talking about how identity gets captured through all of this information with each of the personality types. So I had to lay the foundational work. It's almost done, and then we will be getting into the funner stuff with talking about how each personality gets identity captured. Okay, so identity capture is not random. It enters through the dominant polarity channel at the weakest containment point and collapses the moral load bearing function. So, in my system, the outer feminine represents perception, openness, and intake. The inner feminine represents safety, emotion, and belonging and attunement. The inner masculine is discernment, values, and structure, and the outer masculine is action, enforcement, and direction. So when one of these is overridden, externally capture happens. When the system cannot rebalance internally, that's when collapse happens. All right, so I'm going to be talking about the B.I.T.E model, which was created by, what was his name? Stephen Hassan. So I needed to do a lot more background work on him, research. But he pretty much was recruited into a cult, and then he got out. He got into a car accident, and he decided to start studying cults, how identity gets captured. He's written a couple books combating cult mind control and freedom of mind. And so he created a model called the B.I.T.E model. So that represents the B is behavior, the I is information, the T is thought, and the E is emotion. All right, and that aligns up perfectly with my own work here psychologically. So you can look at, literally, if you break that down, behavior, information, thought, and emotion, that literally correlates with the inner and outer masculine and feminine quadrants within each archetype. This is groundbreaking. This is amazing. All right, so yeah, that's the plan. All right, so let me break down the behavior, information, thought, and emotional control a little bit more. So information control is reality filtering. Actually, behavior control. Let me start there, obviously. B, behavior control. So that is the outer masculine hijack. This is control over what someone does. So example, where you go, who you talk to, how you spend time, rules around food, sleep, money, etc. So this is the outer masculine distortion in my system. Action becomes externally directed, not internally governed. The person stops acting from inner alignment, they act from compliance. And then we have information control, which is reality filtering. So this is control over what someone is allowed to know. So examples, limiting outside sources, rewriting history, discouraging questioning, and controlling narratives. So this corrupts shared reality. It distorts pattern recognition before it can stabilize. So that would be the outer feminine. Thought control is the inner masculine override. So this is control over how someone is allowed to think. Examples, loaded language, us versus them, thought, stopping phrases, black and white thinking, reframing doubt as weakness. So this hijacks the inner masculine discernment, logic, and structure. Instead of asking, does this make sense? It becomes, am I allowed to think this? So inner masculine. Emotional control is inner feminine capture. This is control over what someone is allowed to feel. Examples, guilt for questioning, fear of leaving, shame for individuality, and love bombing and withdrawal cycles. I'm actually going to take this off for a moment. All right, I'm just going to leave this over here. Okay. I don't know where to put this. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'm just going to put it right here for now. All right, so you can see the IF, IM, OF, and OM. That is the inner feminine, inner masculine, outer feminine, outer masculine. All right, so I'm literally going to break down each archetype. I have already explained in depth their development, their identity development, their distortion order, all about the archetype itself. And then we are going to loop this back into identity capture, where their weaknesses are to that. All right, so the emotional control is the inner feminine capture. This is control over what someone is allowed to feel. So that captures inner feminine, safety, belonging, emotional reality. The person stays not because it's true, but because it feels unsafe to leave. So behavior, outer masculine, action control, information is the reality layer with outer feminine control. Thought is inner masculine with discernment, emotion, inner feminine with safety and belonging. So when all those four are compromised, perception is distorted, safety is externally controlled, logic is overridden, and action is dictated. That is full identity capture. So this is what I've been talking about in this series: identity fusion versus sovereignty, container collapse, moral load displacement, and polarity distortion. So identity capture occurs when behavior, information, thought, and emotion are externally controlled, collapsing inner authority across all four layers of the psyche. So this is awesome. I'm just like ready to get this series done so I can get into the really fun stuff. Like, this is enjoyable, but this is actually going to be even more fun in my opinion. So I do want to break down just very briefly, which I don't even think I have all. Let me bring up all my key cards because I want to run through briefly all of the personalities and kind of give you an overview of how this is going to work. All right, so I'm going to start with Capricorn. Hopefully I can pull up these key cards. Okay. So I'm going to start with Capricorn. So Capricorn is ranked number 1 masculine and highest load bearer in my system. So they lead with outer masculine. Moral load structure is structural, society, systems, and survival. So the B.I.T.E model entry point is behavior. Breach point is outer masculine and over duty. So the capture responsibility becomes identity. Action continues without re-evaluation. So distortion is system over truth. Duty replaces discernment. Carries the most moral weight. Breaks last but the hardest. All right, so now we're going to wait, let me see if there's anything else I want to say about that personality. Okay, yeah, so this is going to be super brief. And I just lost where I was. Okay, Aries. All right, let's talk about Aries. And also, I want to talk about how each personality is, did I even put that in here? I should have. I don't think I did. Give me 1 second. Okay, so yeah, actually I'm going to do both of these. All right, so let's move back to Capricorn. I do apologize. I wasn't going to do this video. I was just going to make this like as a very brief introduction and with my other videos, but I'm so excited about this. So like this is very new. This is kind of like on the fly. Okay, so Capricorn with oh, my computer is so slow right now. Okay, so Capricorn, let me back up here. Now I know how I want to do this. So Capricorn, B.I.T.E entry point is behavior. So there we go. So Capricorn is masculine leading overall, moral load number 1, moral load bearer, highest retention, and most masculine in my system. So their core driver is structure, responsibility, and long-term stability. So as well as identity capture through the inner and outer masculine and feminine, I want to also talk about political leaning. Each archetype has a political lean naturally, not just how they were raised, but as a personality type. So, default political lean for Capricorn is right leaning, institutional, and order focused. Capricorn gravitates towards systems that preserve hierarchy, accountability, and long-term structural integrity. Capricorn values earned authority, discipline, and frameworks that maintain civilization over time. Capricorn carries the weight of collapse. It does not trust instability. So the B.I.T.E vulnerability is behavior control, duty and obligation. Shadow lean distortion defends systems even when they fail, equates authority with correctness. All right, now let's move back into Aries. Okay, so Aries. All right, so number 2, masculine in my overall masculine and feminine. Lead polarity is outer masculine. Moral load is kinetic, movement, and initiation. B.I.T.E entry is behavior. Breach point is also outer masculine. Impulsive activation. Capture reacts instead of chooses, becomes a weapon for external agendas. The distortion is speed over accuracy and action without inner alignment. So Aries is the initiator. Strong masculine, moral load, rank is number 7, so they discharge through action. Core driver is movement, autonomy, and confrontation. Default political lean is right-leaning or anti-authority independent. Aries aligns with strength, freedom, and immediate response. Aries resists restriction and favors action over deliberation. Why? Aries regulates through movement, not containment. So the B.I.T.E vulnerability is behavior control through urgency and mobilization. Shadow lean distortion, reaction replaces strategy, conflict becomes identity. All right, now we're going to move into Aquarius. Number 3, masculine in my system. All right, Aquarius. So Aquarius is number 3, masculine overall in my system. Leading polarity is inner masculine. Moral load is systemic and ideological. So the B.I.T.E entry is thought. Breach point is inner masculine through abstract override. Capture. Ideas replace reality. Ideology detaches from human consequence. The distortion is systems over human and logic without embodiment. So Aquarius is the system builder. Their polarity is masculine through abstraction and systems. So their moral load rank is number 11. So they have low retention. The core driver is systems, reform, and future modeling. So default political lean is left leaning or ideological independent. Aquarius gravitates towards systemic redesign, innovation, and collective restructuring. It often aligns with movements seeking large-scale societal change. Aquarius prioritizes systems over tradition. So the B.I.T.E vulnerability is thought control through ideology. The shadow lean distortion is abstract systems override human reality, becomes rigid inside progress frameworks. All right, now we're going to move into Leo or the ESFP. All right, so Leo. Leo is ranked number 4 through my masculine and feminine ranking system. Leading polarity is outer feminine to outer masculine expression. Moral load is morale, identity, and meaning. B.I.T.E entry is emotion. The breach point is inner feminine, validation, dependency. Capture identity shaped by audience. Performance replaces authenticity. Distortion is approval over truth and being seen over being real. So their polarity, they're considered the sovereign. Polarity is masculine expressive. Moral load rank in my system is 8. Number 8. Core driver is identity, recognition, and morale. Default political lean, mixed, identity driven, can swing left or right. Leo aligns with whatever reinforces identity, dignity, and visibility. It often supports strong leadership and symbolic clarity. Leo organizes around identity, not ideology. So the B.I.T.E vulnerability is emotional control through validation and shame. Shadow lean distortion. Politics becomes performance and loyalty overrides truth. All right, so now we're going to get into Sagittarius. Saggy, where are you? There you are. All right, Sagittarius. So Sagittarius is ranked number 5 in my overall masculine and feminine. Leading polarity is inner masculine. Moral load is meaning and belief systems. The B.I.T.E entry is thought. Breach point is inner masculine. Belief, rigidity. Capture locks into ideology, defends belief over reality. The distortion is belief over evidence. Meaning becomes dogma. So Sagittarius is considered the believer, polarity masculine through directional belief. Moral load rank is number 10. Core driver is meaning, truth, and philosophy. Default political leaning, right leaning or libertarian or ideological. Sagittarius aligns with belief systems that provide moral direction, freedom, and philosophical coherence. Sagittarius needs a map of truth. The B.I.T.E vulnerability is thought control through belief capture. Shadowing distortion, dogma replaces inquiry. Belief becomes identity. All right, moving on to Virgo. All right, so Virgo is ranked number 6 through the masculine and feminine, balanced but duty tilted. Leading polarity is inner masculine and inner feminine loop. Moral load is functional and maintenance. B.I.T.E entry is behavior. Breach point is inner masculine, overcorrection. Capture self becomes responsible for everything, endless fixing loop. Distortion is function over self, and correction replaces truth. So Virgo is the regulator, polarity, balanced but function first. Moral load rank is number 4, so they are a high moral load bearer. Core driver is correction and systems integrity. Default political lean is centrist, policy driven, and mixed. Virgo aligns with what works. It evaluates based on function, efficiency, and implementation rather than ideology. Virgo tracks error and repair. The B.I.T.E vulnerability is behavior control over responsibility. Shadow lean distortion. Hypercritical gets stuck fixing broken systems. All right, moving on to Scorpio. All right, Scorpio is ranked number 7 in my masculine through feminine ranking. Lead polarity is inner feminine to inner masculine. Moral load is shadow, truth, exposure. B.I.T.E entry is information. Breach point is inner feminine, trust, binding. Capture attaches to hidden truth structures, binds through secrecy and depth. Distortion, intensity over clarity, and loyalty over truth. So Scorpio is considered the investigator. Polarity is feminine leading through depth and containment. Moral load rank number 2, so they are the second highest moral load bearer. Core driver is truth, power, and exposure. Default political lean is anti-establishment, independent, both sides skeptic. Scorpio distrusts surface narratives and is drawn to uncovering hidden power structures. Scorpio tracks what is concealed. B.I.T.E vulnerability is through information control, secrecy. Shadow lean distortion sees manipulation everywhere, and trust collapse. All right, so moving on to Gemini. All right, so Gemini is ranked number 8 through the masculine and feminine, neutral bridge. Leading polarity is oscillating. Moral load, epistemic, shared reality. So by entry point is information. Breach point is outer feminine, signal overload. Capture loses ability to translate, withdrawals when coherence breaks. Distortion, noise over meaning, and silence over distortion. So Gemini is considered the translator. Polarity is androgynous or the neutral bridge. Moral load ranking is number 12 out of 12, the lowest retention. Core driver is clarity, translation, and coherence. Default political lean, centrist, independent, or analytical. Gemini aligns with clarity over ideology. It evaluates systems based on coherence, data, and structural accuracy. So, Gemini stabilizes reality through understanding. B.I.T.E vulnerability is information control, signal distortion. Shadow lean distortion withdrawals when data is incoherent and delays commitment. All right, moving on to Taurus. All right, so Taurus is ranked number 9 through the masculine and feminine. So they have feminine grounding. Leading polarity is inner feminine. Moral load is stability and embodiment. The B.I.T.E entry is behavior. Breach point is inner feminine. Comfort lock. Capture stays past truth for safety. Resist necessary change. Distortion, comfort over growth, and stability over truth. So Taurus is the stabilizer. So they are the polarity is feminine leading containment. Moral load rank is number 5 through 12. Core driver stability, survival, and resources. Default political lean, right leaning, or stability focused independent. Taurus aligns with systems that preserve economic and physical stability. Taurus prioritizes survival continuity. B.I.T.E vulnerability, behavior control, routine dependence. Shadow lean distortion resists necessary change and clings to outdated stability. All right, now we're going to move on to Libra. All right, so Libra is ranked number 10 through the masculine and feminine, so they are feminine relational. Leading polarity is outer feminine. Moral load is harmony and relational balance. B.I.T.E entry point is emotion. Breach point is outer feminine. Harmony over truth. Capture, self erased for balance. Conflict avoided at all cost. Distortion is peace over integrity and others over self. So Libra is considered the diplomat. Polarity is feminine, leading relationally. Moral load rank is number 9. Core driver, balance, harmony, and fairness. Default political lean is centrist, left leaning socially, and moderate. Libra seeks fairness and social equilibrium, often aligns with positions that reduce conflict and increase inclusion. Libra regulates through relationship. B.I.T.E vulnerability is emotional control through approval. Shadow lean distortion avoids hard truths, harmony over integrity. And then we are moving into Cancer. So Cancer is number 11 feminine, so they are almost the most feminine. Leading polarity is inner feminine. Moral load is care, attachment, and protection. By entry is emotion. Breach point is inner feminine, fear, binding. Capture protects through control. Morality tied to safety. Distortion, safety over truth. Protection becomes possession. So Cancer is considered the protector. Polarity is strong feminine. Moral load rank is number 3. Moral load rank is not number 3, actually. Let's see. It's Capricorn. Oh, yeah, they are. That still surprises me, but then not really once I sit on it. Capricorn, Scorpio, Cancer, Virgo. Oh, okay, yeah, so 3. All right, so Cancer is number 3 on my moral load ranking, so very high moral load bearer. Core driver is safety, family, and protection. Default political lean, left leaning, care systems, or protective right, family first. Cancer aligns with whatever protects its people. This can manifest on either side depending on perceived threat. Why? Cancer organizes around safety. B.I.T.E vulnerability is emotional control through fear and attachment. Shadow lean distortion, fear based decision making, and overprotection. All right, so last but not least, per always, Pisces, where are you? There you are, number 12, feminine. Pisces, there you are. All right, Pisces, ranking number 12, feminine, the most feminine in my masculine through feminine ranking system, feminine dissolution. Leading polarity is inner and outer feminine, moral load, suffering, compassion, and transcendence. By entry is emotion, breach point is full system, and boundary dissolution. Capture merges with suffering, loses identity in compassion. Distortion is empathy over self, and unity over boundaries. So Pisces is considered the mystic. Polarity is most feminine. Moral load rank number 6. Core driver is compassion, unity, and suffering. Default political lean is left leaning and humanitarian. Pisces aligns with movements centered on reducing suffering and increasing compassion. Why? Pisces feels collective pain directly. B.I.T.E vulnerability is emotional control through guilt and martyrdom. Shadow lean distortion, boundaries collapse, and savior complex. Okay, so political alignment isn't random. It's where each archetype feels most stable, most effective, or most safe. Some move energy, some hold it, some protect systems, some question them. What looks like ideology is often just survival strategy in disguise. All right, so that is my overview. Let me see if I forgot anything. Okay, so yeah, my masculine, most masculine through feminine is most masculine number 1, Capricorn, 2 Aries, 3 Aquarius, 4 Leo, 5 Sag, 6 Virgo, 7 Scorpio, 8 Gemini, 9 Taurus, 10 Libra, 11 Cancer, and 12 Pisces, most feminine. So I made a whole series on each archetype, breaking that down, how that works through each archetype. And so if you're interested in that, do look in my moral cognitive playlist. I will put that in the comments below. So the moral load distribution ranking order is the highest structural load bearers through Capricorn and Scorpio. Oh, okay. So I broke this down actually a little bit different. So highest structural load is Capricorn, Aquarius, action, Aries, and Leo through impact. Meaning Sagittarius and Scorpio, truth load. Functionally through translation is Virgo and Gemini. Stability through relational load is Taurus and Libra. Emotional and spiritual load is Cancer and Pisces. So I am going to break down this next series probably through that. The action, meaning, functional, stability, emotional. That'll be the tiers. So I will have a tier system. And what else? I think that's really it. So identity capture enters through the dominant polarity channel, overrides the weakest containment layer, and displaces moral load from where it belongs. All right, so that is all I'm going to say. 35 minutes. I really didn't was totally not, this is off the cuff, not prepared at all. I literally just had this idea this evening, like 7 hours ago. And so I'm only 7 hours into this work. I've mapped it out already. I might tweak it a little here and there. Anyways, that's where this channel is going. Like, I was literally going to dive straight into relational dynamics through conflict, but I want to bring this back around into my identity capture where I started on this series. I'm going to go through each archetype through the identity capture weakness points, through the inner and outer masculine and feminine, just to bring everything back around, how each personality gets identity captured. I'll probably make a couple more videos about just the overall identity capture topic. And then I'm going to get into relational conflict dynamics. People tend to really enjoy that, and I've never gotten there on this channel at all ever. I just wanted to lay the foundational work first, explaining the archetypes in the utmost depth that I could. And so, yeah, anyways, that's where I'm going after I finish probably 5 or 6 more hours of video work. I am moving on back into identity capture through the archetypes. So, and then culturally, I wanted to end this series off after breaking down each archetype through identity capture. My final videos will bring it all the way back around to the current, what is going on currently with with religion, politics, geopolitics. There's a lot going on. War or conflict. The Middle East, they won't even call it a war, it's a conflict. I just can't. And then Charlie Kirk, the TPUSA, I've been studying that relentlessly for 6 months. I followed the money. I looked into the businesses, how many businesses there were, where the money flowed, who the donors were. There's a lot to say about that. You know, the TPUSA Charlie Kirk assassination was an eye opener just as much as 9/11, just as much as 2020, the whole pandemic epidemic. The sky is falling, science fanatical. I'm going to end this whole entire series here on YouTube with the cultural overall, bring it all the way back out with what's going on and leave it there. I'll probably add some more here and there. I don't have the internet, so my videos have been a little bit glitchy. If you've hung in through those videos, thank you so much. The information's still good. The visual was glitchy, but the audio and the information was still good, so that's a plus. Eventually, I'm going to have to get Starlink. I'm literally out in the middle of nowhere in the country. I don't have internet. I haven't had internet in many, many, many years. I want to get to a point on this channel where I am actually able to live stream, and I watch so many lectures daily, news, you name it, independent journalists. I watch a lot of content to keep up with the current, what is going on. I want to get more into that field myself. I've just been educating myself on a lot over the last 2 decades, especially. So I am not new to any of this. It's It's quite a wild world we live in. So, anywho, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Totally, literally off the cuff. I literally thought it was going to be a 10-minute video, and here we are at 40 minutes. So, if you're interested in this information, please like and subscribe. I will probably eventually write a book on this. I am working on a 700-page book. I have 4 days off of work for Easter, and I am going to try to jam a month of editing into 3 or 4 days. I'm probably going to stay up a lot. I am going to be hammering this out as much as I can. The 700-page ebook through the moral load bearing and inner and outer masculine and feminine containment through the nervous systems, through the 12 archetypes. I want to make that into a master framework book. It's going to be ginormous. It will be the biggest masterpiece I have ever written besides my Scorpio personality type. That was amazing. It's 500 pages. That book is phenomenal. This will be my utmost high tier, high IQ work I have done to date. So I want to get this out of the way. I am just like so excited to push forward. I have so many plans of where I want to go with video work and information. Thank you all. I have finally hit my 500 subscriber mark. I still need about 1,000 hours of watch time, so I can foresee my channel getting monetized within a year. A year's time is my new goal. I thought it was 500, but the watch time is throwing me off. So I am not going to change what I want to talk about. I am not going to change my channel just for views. That's not who I am. I'm an Aquarius, INTJ Mercury or mind, thinking and communication. Like, I don't join the crowd. I am not going to be doing whatever, you're supposed to cater to your audience. I get that. Like, I have to lay the foundational work first. So that is what I've been doing. But I have a lot of plans for this channel, including memberships. I've already got 30, 40 videos mapped out for my membership when that finally gets going. Yeah, I just have a lot. I have a lot that I want to work on. So anyway, take care, y'all, and I will see you in the next video.